hosting guests, sometimes the occasion calls for a little more than a glass of wine, and maybe even past your traditional glass of whiskey. All right, we are rounding the corner into a new season. Folks starting to hang out indoors, wanting to get a little creative. It's time to talk cocktails.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, so we're heading into the fall season. We're going into Thanksgiving's just right around the corner, but we're going to hang on to some fall flavors. What do we have going on?
We're going to do a pumpkin old fashioned. It's whiskey season, whiskey weather season, which I like to say. So we're going to do basically a traditional old fashioned, but we're going to just sub out some bitters and simple syrups for fall flavors. We've got this Meadowland pumpkin spice syrup.
Heather's an award-winning bartender and is putting a twist on an old-fashioned.
Instead of just the traditional bitters, we're going to do a black walnut bitter. You can do 3 to 5 dashes, up to you. I like to do about 3. You can always add more if you want.
And choosing a quality whiskey matters.
So going to use Buffalo Trace. It's a Kentucky bourbon, 6 years. They're like an award-winning distillery, easy to get on the shelf, and one of my favorites to use for mix. We're going to do 2.5 ounces of this.
Once the ingredients are in the shaker, you want to make sure you mix it up right.
This one, since it is a spirit forward drink, you're just gonna add ice to it, and then you're gonna stir the cocktail instead of shaking it. A lot of people like to shake things, but when it's spirit forward, you don't wanna dilute it too much because you wanna taste the bourbon in the drink. So just add a little bit of ice, give it a good stir. I like to use stainless steel because you can feel the cold texture on the cup, and you can tell when it's getting nice and chilled. And then I just take a little bucket cup, and then add some fresh ice to that, and then we're gonna strain it over fresh ice.
And you can't forget the garnish.
And then for this drink, I'm just gonna add a little cinnamon stick. It's great to use as a stirrer to keep stirring that drink. And then an orange peel, and you wanna peel over the cup so you get some of those orange oils that just float on top of the drink, and just add that, and then that's your old fashioned.
Gosh, it's amazing that just peeling that orange just then I can already smell how fresh that orange is.
So cheers, that's for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So an old fashioned typically does have orange in it though still too, right?
Like an orange peel. People do add orange, like muddled orange. That's just a personal preference, but the basic cocktail is just your spirit, your sugar, and your bitter, and that's it.
But maybe bourbon-based drinks aren't your thing. So how about something refreshing with a touch of fall flavor?
Gin is a great spirit to use year-round. It does get forgotten about, but it makes really good fall cocktails. Today we're gonna focus on doing like a smoked pear gin fizz. We're gonna use a lemon-infused gin from Malfi out of Italy, and then we're gonna use a smoked tea vanilla syrup from Raft, which they're out of Portland, and then Liquid Death, which has been so popular this year.
Pick a gin to your liking, but don't be afraid to try something new.
I've got the Malfi gin, so I'm gonna feature that. We're gonna do 1.5 ounces of that, and then we're gonna use the Raft smoked tea vanilla syrup. This is very strong, so we're really gonna just use a really tiny bar spoon. So really smoky, almost smells like, you know, you're coming out of a campfire. I would be very gentle with this. You can always add more if you want. Never go overboard because then you can't take it away.
Sure. Sweetness comes in the form of a pear nectar.
Pear puree, it's a juice, so it's gonna be a lot thicker than if you just got like pear juice. So they don't really filter any of the pulp out of it.
Yeah.
So it is gonna be a thick one. We're gonna use 2 ounces of this because we really wanna taste that pear in this drink. And then we're gonna take half of a lemon and we're gonna juice that. And this is a cocktail that I would call more like juice forward than spirit forward.
This one, we won't stir.
It's always best to shake it because it just brings out all that flavor, binds everything together.
So citrus, more or less a shaken cocktail. That's a good note to remember.
Yeah, spirit stirred, citrus shaken.
Okay, nice. After it's shaken, it's topped with sparkling water and a pear slice for garnish. Because fall, there's like nothing better than pears. We have so many up in the
Pear
gorge.
gets forgotten about all the time. Like pear is just like pear martinis.
Ooh, oh my gosh, that's so refreshing. The lemon juice comes out big time, but it's not too much citrus. It's very refreshing.
Do you get a little bit of the smoke on it?
Well, the smoke's coming out at the end of it almost.
Right, yeah.
So the smoky pear, I like those notes. It's reminiscent of a campfire, but also the fall season, cold mornings.
Oh, yes.
Wow. A fun way to kick your entertaining and cocktail hours up a notch when hosting friends or cozying up.